Spokane was recently placed in the top 100 best places to live by livability.com. And so we're going to break down what they had to say about Spokane, where does it fall in the rankings, and what you need to know if you're trying to decide if Spokane is the right place for you. So make sure to stick around. Hey there, my name is Haydn Halsted, your real estate resource here in Spokane. And we help people every day decide if Spokane is the right place to live. And we look at articles like this all the time to help you make that decision. So we're breaking down what livability.com had to say about Spokane. They put out a list of the top 100 best places to live in the United States. In order to determine the top 100 best places to live. Their list is a little different. So first, they were only considering small to mid-sized cities with a population of 75,000 to 500,000. So they're assuming that you don't want to live in a really large city, that you want kind of a smaller town feel. And like they said, it's easier to get plugged in and find your people and feel at home relatively quickly. And secondly, focusing on those smaller cities, they were able to focus on affordability. So they were only considering cities with a median home value of 500,000 or less. Now, I know that there's going to be a little these national websites always tend to have funny real estate prices because they have Missoula, Montana on here for an instance. And I know the home prices there are, I mean, maybe the average home price is around 500,000 there, but I'm pretty sure it's much higher than that. But even on the list, they have it in the mid 300s, which that is definitely not the case in Missoula, Montana. So now the cool thing about this website is that it's not necessarily ranked 1 to 100. They gave every single place a live score, but you can actually organize it however you want to. So if you know that you're going to live in the Northwest, you could go down to what are the cities in the Northwest that they ranked as the best. So that 15 cities here, and you could take a look at that. So wherever, if there was a specific region you wanted to live in, you could break it down. If you wanted to look specifically at certain populations, median home values, things like that, you could break it down in different ways. But I went through, they don't give it a ranking, but Spokane ranked number 54 on this list out of the live score ranking. So it was a score of about 749, I believe. Yeah, ranked it at 749 on their ranking. So let's take a look at what they were looking at to get these scores. So they were looking at amenities, economy, education, environment, health, housing costs, safety, and transportation. So you could click through, and if you really just wanted to focus on who has the best education overall, you could come through, and Columbia, Maryland is number 1, and see how they specifically rank there. So I'm not surprised to see Spokane like basically on the latter half, 54, but kind of right in the middle. I mean, our catchphrase here in Spokane is Spokane doesn't suck. Kind of our funny phrase here that people don't think, I mean, they don't believe that Spokane sucks, but it's kind of, we talk about it in that negative sense because there's, I don't know, Spokane has some character to it, I'll say. And so it is not a perfect city, but it is much better than many other cities. And so I think landing right in the middle is totally reasonable on that list there. So let's see what they had to say about Spokane. So it says, if you're looking for an affordable place to live on the West Coast, consider Spokane, Washington. Compared to most West Coast cities, Spokane offers residents a lower overall cost of living, which makes it an attractive option for families and young professionals and retirees. And so I would say this is pretty true. I mean, if a lot of people that I work with are coming inland from the West Coast, but we're only 4.5 hours from the ocean here. So there's a lot of people that are making the decision that they want to live in Washington or in the Western states, but Spokane is pretty much the most affordable option there is if you don't want to live in an absolutely rural town. But even then, some of the rural towns, specifically on the west side of the Cascades, are extremely expensive. They say Spokane's cultural attractions entice locals and tourists alike to linger downtown, explore the region's art, history, and food scene. Spokane offers a diversity of job opportunities in everything from healthcare and public services to manufacturing and education, as well as a rise in the finance and technology sectors. So now I know there's probably a lot of people that already live here in Spokane, moved away from Spokane. What do you think about this paragraph right here? Leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Does Spokane have job diversity, anything like that? What I'll say is that our downtown, Spokane does bring in a good amount of entertainment. We have consistent music and festivals, things like that, especially throughout the summer. But even fall, spring, summer, fall, really there is a lot of stuff to do. In the wintertime, it's definitely very sleepy and kind of dead around here. So I think that there is a lot of attractions that bring people into the downtown core. You will read a lot in my comment sections that people never want to go into downtown because of the fear of crime and homelessness, and that is definitely where the largest amount of crime and homelessness takes place. It's definitely where our largest drug issues take place as well throughout the streets of downtown. If you're just somebody that wants to live in the suburbs, come into downtown for some entertainment and then head back home, generally you're going to be totally fine, and you're not going to notice it much more than any other city that you would be living in. So it says that Spokane ranks the highest in environment, economy, and amenities. And here's a breakdown of those scores. So amenities being a 67, economy being a 68, and environment being a 73. So they say what makes Spokane so special. They were saying that just the proximity to the Spokane River, which right now is best time to go down there if you're coming into town. The waterfall is absolutely going wild right now with all the mountain runoff. So April, May is the time to definitely go check out the Spokane Falls. It says access to the Selkirk Mountains, and it's a haven for outdoor enthusiasts, biking, kayaking with 76 lakes within an hour drive, skiing, snowboarding, and all that other stuff. And Canada, I think people don't realize how close Canada, Idaho, Montana are to the Spokane area. Canada is less than 100 miles away. Idaho is, Coeur d'Alene is about a 35-minute drive. North Idaho, 45 minutes to an hour to be to the Schweitzer Ski Resort in Sandpoint, Idaho. And then you could be in Missoula, Montana in 3.5 hours, quicker than you can get to Seattle. So I think that's the great part about Spokane is the central location to being able to get out to nature to the east and then get to the larger cities to the west. They note that we have nearly 24 wineries, and then economy-wise, they're blessed with excellent healthcare, education options, and not to mention a low cost of living and thriving economy. Now, again, probably people in the comments right now commenting how our cost of living is too expensive, our economy is in the tank. Our healthcare industry is incredible in Spokane. We do have amazing healthcare and a lot of options for it. I think education is doing a great job. I think we have great public schools in general and great teachers. Cost of living is, of course, going up just like it is everywhere else. And so Spokane has had a rapid increase of prices. But in terms of the rest of Washington state, our groceries tend to be less, our gas tends to be less, and our housing tends to be less. Of course, you could jump over to Idaho and get a lot cheaper gas, but you're going to find expenses in other areas of life over there. And so really Spokane, we also have a large manufacturing industry. Like we really are more of a blue collar area. And so we kind of are a hub for the inland Northwest, as they say, providing parts and labor for Washington, Idaho, Montana, and Oregon. We are one of the largest cities between Seattle and Chicago, besides like Sioux Falls and Minneapolis. So we do have a lot of industry coming through this area and a lot of manufacturing in this area. So then they go through the weather, which we've talked a lot about on this channel. The spring and fall are a little bit shorter in the Spokane area. We do get quite a bit of rain here. As a result, the temperatures actually are relatively moderate, with the summer average being between 57 and 80 as a low and a high. And then in the winter, the lows and the high being 23 and 35. Of course, we have outliers. It will hit 100 degrees in the summer. It will probably hit 0 degrees most winters. So we get a large range of that, but these are the averages. We tend to get about 44 inches of snowfall, with the most of it coming December through February, but we've had snow on Halloween and as late as beginning of May. Every once in a while it'll come back just for a little bit. Average rainfall is 17 inches. We get 172 sunny days a year. And then they just talk about some of the awesome things to do in Spokane, like the Centennial Trail, Riverfront, Hoop Fest. We're starting to walk into our festival season. So by the time this video comes out, Bloomsday will have already happened and things like that. But this is a great website. It will be linked down below. You'll be able to get a kind of a quick breakdown of the things to do. And you can also visit my personal website, haydnhalsted.com. We have a tab on there that has maps of the best coffee shops, best places to grab breakfast, things like that. And so if you want to check that out before you make your trip, we have a whole place for you to find, a whole section of our website for you to plan your trip around to help you make that as successful as possible. So people reach out to me all the time and ask me about the job industry here and what is a good job, and so, or what they can expect when they're looking for a job. And so the several major industries in Spokane are manufacturing, logistics, which is basically just the movement of the things that were manufactured, semi trucks and things like that. And then aerospace likely being, a lot of it being at Fairchild Air Force Base, as they are the largest employer in all of Spokane. In regards to taxes, we have a 9% sales tax here. The state sales tax is lower than that, but Spokane adds an additional sales tax on top of it. But we do not have a state income tax, which is great, especially for us self-employed people. It helps a lot. The major healthcare providers for the area are Providence Sacred Heart Medical Center, Multicare Deaconess, and Providence Holy Family. There's a lot of great access to healthcare around here. We, again, are kind of that major hub for the inland Northwest. And so people from Montana, Idaho, Oregon are brought up to Spokane to get certain treatments. And then we have a lot of colleges which help our community stay thriving as well, including Gonzaga, which is getting which has always been a popular school because of our basketball team. Whitworth University is a great private school. We have Eastern Washington University, and then we have several satellite campuses for Washington State University and University of Washington, and a handful of really awesome community colleges. So they say the total population of Spokane, which Spokane proper is 232. Obviously, the whole Spokane metro, you can see here, is Spokane County is just over 500,000. So once you include the Spokane Valley, Liberty Lake, this just region here, you're talking 400,000 or so. And then the whole rest of the county is a total of about 500,000. Median household income, 66,000. I believe I've seen the more recent numbers, household income being just over 70,000. The median home prices right now are at 440 actually. And then median rent, this is pretty low too. I mean, for a 2-bedroom apartment, you're looking at about $1,200 a month. I think the best thing and the biggest thing that people realize when they move to Spokane is the shorter commutes, average being 18 minutes. It's pretty dang hard to go more than 25 minutes. You'd be making a choice to live on one side of town and work on the opposite side of town. It's very easy to be within a 10 to 15 commute of work, depending on where your work is and where you choose to live. So one little bonus I think is cool. They were at Spokane, Washington was put on a list of the 5 unexpected regions that produce great whiskey. And I thought that this was a cool shout out to Spokane Dry Fly Distillery. They have a really cool distillery here in Spokane. It used to be the old newspaper building. And so if you are in town and you like whiskey, stop by Dry Fly because it's a great little spot to hit while you're here. And it's in a really cool, like kind of historical portion of downtown. So it's a great place to go walking and be close to the river and all that kind of stuff. So let me know down in the comments, did you agree with what they had to say about Spokane? Do you agree with the ranking? What would you change? Or if you're a local, what would you tell people looking to move here that you felt like was not told in this article here? I would love it if we had a conversation down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you need any help making your move to the Spokane area, make sure to call, text, email anytime. I would love to help you out. Thanks so much for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.